Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It. We have finished with Darkest Dungeon. Now we're moving on to our second title. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello. Also, we have judged Darkest Dungeon according to science.
That's right. Yes, we have completed our requisite science for our fifth game. Sorry, our fifth game, Darkest Dungeon, and it has been deemed.
I'm just going to check that number.
Yeah, it has been deemed pretty good. So if you haven't listened to the We Roguelike It ranking 005 episode, it's out there in the feed right now, and we make some important choices. We had a decision in front of us, and we made some important choices that I think will resonate and echo throughout the rest of the ranking episodes.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was one of those great moments. I'll be honest. I'm really pleased with that because it was like, this is my argument. I don't think he can argue with me on this point.
Right.
I was right.
Yeah. It was good. So I think we clarified something about our science, and we've come back as better scientists. So
science evolves as you learn new procedures.
It does, yeah. So let's we're all done with Darkest Dungeon. So let's talk about our latest game, the Swords of Ditto, which is not at all what I was expecting.
Same, very much the same.
I like that it is literally the complete stylistic polar opposite of Darkest Dungeon.
Yes, and that's not to say it has a bad style.
No,
it's just Darkest Dungeon is very mature, very dark, very
a lot of hard edges.
That guy who likes his tentacles. Can't remember his name.
Lovecraft.
That's the one. Thank you.
Yes.
It's very that kind of style, whereas Swords of Ditto is kind of a kid's Zelda. It's like Zelda mixed with Slime Rancher.
Yeah, and it has this really fun, cartoony style. And I usually don't like calling games cartoony because it's usually like, oh, this cartoon game. But it feels very much like something you'd see on Netflix nowadays, which I think is largely a good thing. I think my first impression of the style was sort of like, oh, this is different. And then probably about 5 minutes later, I was sort of like, I kind of dig what this game's doing style-wise. Everything animates really fun. Your character moves in a fun way. It looks fun. It looks charming. It's a nice change of pace.
Yes, especially from the Darkest of Dungeon, which I know you're still playing.
Maybe. I mean, I played the fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna go down that road. Okay. We'll see.
Wink. I do like the music so far. There's no voice acting, which isn't surprising. There isn't much voice acting in most roguelikes.
Yep. Just before we get started too much into this, let's just jump into the Moonpier hates PC games discussion really quick.
Yeah, let's talk about your many trials and tribulations with PC gaming.
Yes. So I couldn't, when we were playing Sunless Sea, I was very frustrated because it wouldn't run on my PC. Turns out that was because at the time I was running basically a cowboy build of dual monitor setup rather than just doing it the right way. I was doing it a cowboy way. I fixed that, and I'm sure if I went back and tried to play it on PC now, it would be fine. However, I got Swords of Ditto free, Twitch Prime. Something that you forgot about, I'm assuming.
I totally did, and I bought it on PS4.
Yep. If you are playing this using your Twitch Prime account or on the PC, beware if you have an NVIDIA graphics card. It can occasionally decide not to recognize it.
Right.
Because I spent 3 hours trying to figure out why it was running at like less than 5 frames a second.
Yep.
And this is why I like console games.
Right. And it's one of those frustrating things where the developers are like, yeah, sometimes NVIDIA cards don't see our game as a game and they just see it as an application. So, make sure that's not the case on your machine. It's just like, oh, jeez. But now it's running smooth as silk.
It runs crisp. It runs clear. It's really shocking, the difference. I'm not someone who notices frame rates, but when it's literally staggering
5 to 60,
yes, you can kind of tell the difference. But I'm playing it. It has a controller. It has the Xbox prompt, so I'm perfectly happy with that.
Nice.
And I'm running it on my 1920, and it's smooth as silk, so not a problem on that front.
Great.
As for how far I've gotten, I died.
Okay.
My first death after about 2, maybe 3 hours of playing.
After like the main tutorial death?
I was still, yes, after
Okay.
the main tutorial death.
Right.
I'd literally died about 2 hours ago because I got caught in a dungeon where a trap hit me off the edge, and then when I came back to life, the trap hit me off the edge.
Oh no.
And then I came back to life, and the trap hit me off the edge.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yep. So I did, however, unlock the space whale.
Okay. I have not unlocked the space wheel. What is this?
Oh, okay. So maybe you should go with how far you've gotten, because it sounds like I might have gotten a little further.
Yeah, I had my third death a couple days ago. I haven't played this in a couple of days. I've probably played maybe like 4 hours or so. But I haven't made a ton of progress on each playthrough because I keep trying to go into dungeons and dojos and toy dungeons a little bit earlier than I should.
Yes.
And I like that the game isn't overly punishing, and it's very clear about what levels dungeons are and areas are. It's really good about that, and I think the controls overall are good.
Yep, it runs very slow, and I'm gonna throw. Not that's not a performance thing. It is a very slow game. Like,
Yeah, your character
movement speed
moves
is slow.
very slowly. Yeah, and I go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm going to throw this one out in the air and let T-Bomb Rocks pick it up. You wanted a really good start of roguelike to go to after the story must go on. I think this might be a really good start of roguelike because it's not Isaac where it's completely bonkers, up the wall, paced, and you're moving so fast you don't know what's going on.
Right.
It's a very, very slow-paced game, but that's fine because it does very slowly introduce more and more mechanics as you go.
Yeah, it is very good at that. And speaking of movement, I actually ran into a dungeon that looked familiar until I realized it's a Loco Roco dungeon.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, this is okay. So I like defeat all the black things that are the enemies in Loco Roco. I collect 4 of the good things, open a door, and it gives me a Loco Roco sticker that then lets me infinitely roll. And that movement was really good until I died.
need to find that thing so
Yeah.
bad. Okay, so you said you haven't discovered the space whale.
I have not.
How many currencies are there at the top of your screen?
There's gold, like your just your normal money. I don't think that's it because I keep picking up this
The
other
golden
currency.
tokens.
Yeah.
There around the map there are statues with a whale. Take 8 of those tokens to that statue,
Okay.
and it basically lights up these things around it as you deposit them into the statue. Once you've done that, it unlocks a second currency, which is a carryover stuff from life to life currency.
Ooh, how have I not found a space whale statue yet?
I don't know.
That's frustrating.
It could be that you've seen it, but you just didn't interact with it, to be completely honest.
Yeah, because there are some things in this game that you can't interact with at least at the very beginning. There's sort of a lot in the town. I don't think that's a bad thing, but the town is really big.
And the worst thing is the town's not even all of the social hubs because you've got the lighthouse, which I don't know if you've been to yet.
I have, yeah. It opens the crates for you.
Yep, you've got the blacksmith.
I have not run into the blacksmith.
You've got the sticker octopus.
I don't know if I've run into the stick. No, I have. Yeah.
It's a cave with an octopus over the front, and when you go in, you can trade 3 stickers for a better sticker.
Right.
Kind of
I
thing.
think
So
I
it's
ran into it, and I just as I had started, I didn't have any stickers on hand.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this game, and I'm guessing procedurally generated world map every single time, which...
Seems like it based on my runs, yeah.
What toys have you unlocked?
Oh boy. I keep upgrading the bow because that's surprisingly useful.
I still haven't got the bow yet.
Okay, I have the bombs, of course. I really only
Hmm.
use the one type of bomb because I don't think I need the other types yet.
Yep.
You have like that airsoft gun
Hmm.
that I don't really use because I have the bow.
The Nerf gun thing.
Yeah, it doesn't do any damage. It's just
No,
for
I think
puzzles.
it's yeah, I think it's literally in case you don't have a ranged attack, you can use this to solve long range
Yeah.
puzzles and dungeons.
What's the other thing? You have the kazoo, but you pick that up immediately, and you can
Did,
just use it on the map anyway.
yes. Did you ever get the laser eye?
No. Oh
So on
man.
my first run, I was doing pretty good. I got to level 5. I was thinking, this is it. This is the run I'm going to go. The boss is level 6. I'm going to go. I'm going to get stronger, face the boss, see what happens. Then I got trap fall, trap fall, trap fall, dead. Um, the last thing I got in that run was the laser eye, which is basically like I don't know if you had them over here, but push pops, which is like
Yep.
a plastic ring with a huge candy thing on the top of it.
Yep.
It's like that, but with a red eyeball, and then you literally put your fist out and then fire laser beams at people.
That's really good.
And that was the dungeon I was on when I did the trap fall. But that thing is so OP because, for example, the slimes that you can only kill with fire. I don't know if you figured that one out.
Slimes you can only kill with fire. Yes, because I have something like one of the stickers I have increases my damage by like 19% or something and adds a fire element, which means I just burn, no pun intended, I just burn through a ton of that game because so much stuff is weak to fire.
Yeah, I struggle with the slimes because they hop, you slice them once, they disintegrate, they come back alive again.
Yeah.
Really annoying.
You hit them with a ranged attack, they just disintegrate and then come
Yep.
back. It's just like, okay.
So I'm guessing by now you've figured out the crown system.
No, not really. That has been confusing.
I think when you get the second currency, the monster that has the crown is like a champion and drops more of the second currency.
Gotcha.
So if you want to maximize your buy through potential for the next run, you kill the enemies in the order they get the crowns.
Yeah, because there's a real clear like trail from one enemy to another, and I've been doing that. But I guess since I don't have the second currency open, they haven't really been dropping anything.
Yes,
Okay.
that would be my guess based on my experimentation with it, because this game has a very basic tutorial, but there's so many hidden mechanics in there. Like,
Yeah.
it's impressive how much is hidden behind basically just talking to people.
And the tutorial, I have to say, was pretty good, but was a little bit long. And I purposely killed myself just to see what happens. It's like, am I gonna go through this whole thing again? And you really don't. Thankfully, you just pick your hero again, and then you're in the cemetery, and you just pick up the sword, and it's like, all right, let's do this again.
Yeah, it's kind of handy for that kind of stuff. I
The
can't remember.
permanence I think is interesting. The run over run permanence, other than that other currency, I think is interesting because it really only seems to carry over your badge progress. You know how you're upgrading your badge every once in a while.
Nope.
Okay, maybe it seems to happen pretty randomly. I don't know if you can only do it once per hero or what.
Yeah. I
The
unlocked
base-
a new badge, but I didn't actually do any badge upgrades.
Okay, yeah, it does it automatically. And it's like, oh, your badge leveled up from 1 to 2. And it seems like that's mostly a character modifier. Like, now that I'm badge level 2, I'm 20% stronger, and I have 10% more health, and 2% more luck, something like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to carry over from hero to hero, because it seems like it starts with 3 heroes, and there are like 50 unlockable. Like I don't know how many are there over in that list, but there's a ton.
Yeah. I mean, I unlocked one additional hero in my run, and that's
Okay.
it. So
Yeah, I haven't unlocked anybody.
I unlocked the superhero who starts with I can't remember the guy's name, but he starts with like looks like a Power Rangers hat,
Okay.
and it's a toy, and I haven't used it yet
Yeah.
because as soon as I died, I was like, okay, I'm gonna call this now.
Right.
And it says it turns him into a super form, so
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know what that is, or I'm looking forward to finding out.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what I've been enjoying so far about it is it gave you enough tutorial to sort of get the basics, like defeat these trunks or roots or whatever it is to go fight the boss, and
Yeah.
uh, the boss is gonna have a specific level that shows up every time you level up. The game keeps saying you're going to fight the boss every 24 hours, but I have died before I've hit that point on every character, so it hasn't pushed me
I
into that fight yet.
Yeah, I think it's within a certain amount of days. I don't think it's 24 hours. I think it's within a certain amount of days
Okay.
because every time I was on low health and looking at heading into a dungeon, I would just kazoo back to my home, and then sleep and heal, and then continue. And I did that two
Okay.
or three times, and I still wasn't fighting the boss at that point.
Interesting. Yeah, because during the tutorial they say 24 hours, and then who's the flying person that's with you? Momo?
Yeah, I think it's Momo the dung beetle.
Yeah. They keep saying, "Hey, if you just want to go right to the boss fight, like you can just go sleep at home, and it'll just force that." So
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
that option when you go home and when you go to bed, it's like sleep until night, sleep until day, sleep until Judgment Day, I think it calls it.
Okay, Judgment Day.
Hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of mechanics in here, but none of them feel like Sunless Sea, where it's like this impossible. I can't keep track of all the spinning plates and all the moving parts here.
Yeah,
It feels, if you've played a Zelda game, it feels familiar in that way, but there's enough roguelike stuff around it to kind of keep it run over run pretty interesting.
yeah, definitely. And I'm looking forward to seeing if now that I've died and I had that second currency, I want to see if I need to unlock the whale again or if I immediately start with that second currency, earning it from the get-go.
Right, right.
Because what it allows you to do is when you die with that currency, the big space whale shows up and is like, well, I can help you. Here is a storefront, basically.
Oh,
These are the
cool.
items you had in your inventory. And then you can spend that second currency to transfer them over to the new hero.
Interesting. Yeah, because from hero to hero so far, and I've only picked the one hero, so I don't know how this works, but I've kept all my toys that I've unlocked.
I didn't keep the laser eye, but I kept all of the other ones.
Interesting. Okay, so there must be like a base collection where it's like you always have the gun. If once you have the bow, you'll have that. You'll have bombs. You'll have that sort of stuff. But that's
Hmm.
interesting. That I feel like that's a little bit. It makes it a little bit easier. Where it's like you're gonna have your base level tools, so you can go through any dungeon. You can bomb your way into any secret dungeons you want. Anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So far, I'm enjoying it. I think largely because it's so different from everything else I'm playing.
Yeah. Everything is so dark and full of terror right now.
Yeah, like
It's not an evergreen game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a bright, vivid game in a world of browns and greys.
yeah.
So it's doing pretty good for me. Like I'm enjoying it so far.
T-Bomb Rocks in Discord has a question for us this week. Says, I'm really enjoying Sword of Ditto. I picked it up when it released and dropped it a while back. As I'm getting into the world, I'm realizing how the devs must have been inspired by The Legend of Zelda and Adventure Time. If you could blend game style / series with a TV series, which would it be?
Game style or series with a TV series.
I'm trying to think of any roguelikes that would mix with a TV show really well. I feel like you could maybe do Sunless Sea with Matrix. Like the real world Matrix stuff. The
Yes.
Nebuchadnezzar, I think it was called.
That was the name.
Yeah.
How about something along the lines of CSI where you are a cop who has to solve crimes and you have to piece together the evidence in like a crime scene, but you can get promoted, demoted, and fired and stuff like that by not doing the right job kind of thing.
Interesting. I'm trying to think of anything else. Like, I feel like Rolled Corpses EX would be really easy for pretty much any zombie property out there.
Yeah.
What else have we had? Binding of Isaac, I feel like, is such a weird singular thing.
Yeah, that really is.
I don't know if I would want to put that on anybody. And then Hand of Fate, I feel like That's another thing where we don't see a lot of card-based things in media.
Yeah, true. I mean, if you're gonna put a skin on Hand of Fate, Game of Thrones would be a really good skin to put on that thing.
That's true. Yeah.
You come across the mountain, you die.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe ask us in another year, and we'll have more roguelikes to answer that with, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
more than likely.
Any final thoughts about Ditto for this week?
I mean, no, it's pretty good. I'm looking forward to jumping in a little bit more and seeing how things go. But for right now, it seems like a nice. Again, I hate to use the term, but it seems like a really good starter, like roguelike. Like it's not super punishing. Everything changes when you get in, so it's got a little bit more longevity. Like it seems like a good starting roguelike for fans of the genre, if you will.
Right. Or soon to be fans of the genre, maybe.
Yes, young ladies in your care, for example. That was a T-Bone Rocks reference.
Right. No, we're
Please
not being
don't
creepy
take that the
or
wrong
anything.
way.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this episode, and we'll see you back next week for Swords of Ditto episode 2.
Bye.
Bye.